Alright, what is going on, guys? Welcome to the first episode of Abstract Insight created by the Underdog Report. This is going to be a podcast dedicated to responding to the current news in the wild world of sports and giving abstract and insightful takes that the average podcast will never give you. So let's get right into it today. We have two big stories, one's bigger than the other. We have the state of the MLB due to some games being canceled due to coronavirus, and we also have what happened last night with the Pelicans, the return of the NBA, and what happened with the Pelicans last night. So let's get into the first topic, the state of the MLB. Right now, 20% of the MLB's games are being canceled due to positive coronavirus tests. And I mean, the league is doing what it thinks is best for the players. They're taking the players' health and safety as their main goal, and saying if any team tests positive, they really can't play any more games because there's a possibility that they'll just spread it all around the league. And the problem, especially with baseball, is that the sport, its play style allows for a greater diversity in endurance and body type. Like, if you're playing basketball or soccer, you kind of have to be be in top shape. You have to have a lot of endurance and good lung health, and you can't really have that much fat on you. But in baseball, there's not much movement compared to those games. You can be kind of an overweight fatso. Like, for example, Prince Fielder, he's a big dude. He's got some fat. He's probably not running 24/7. He probably doesn't have that a lot of stamina or good lung health as some other top athletes. So the problem is that the baseball players are a lot more susceptible to the coronavirus than athletes of other sports, because there's a greater number of people who have lesser lung health and body health because the sport allows for it. So I can understand the MLB executives saying, we can't allow our players to get the coronavirus because it actually might harm them in this case. But the problem with this, there's a problem with this. There's no problem with it, but there is a solution to their problem, and I'm going to give it to you right now. The thing is that the MLB could keep playing the games even though some teams are testing positive for coronavirus. The big fear is that the MLB is going to say, okay, there's way too many coronavirus cases, we got to shut down the season. Nobody wants that. Baseball is finally back, and we need it in our lives, and we don't want it to go away anytime soon. So I'm here to propose a way that the MLB can keep playing games despite having coronavirus cases increase without a bubble. It's not a bubble. So if members of a team test positive for coronavirus, whether it be staff or a player, I don't know, either way, then everybody has to get tested on the spot, and they have to be quarantined for a couple days. The people that test negative can go on to play the game. Everybody who tests negative can go on. Then all the positive testers will be quarantined for 2 weeks, and the ballpark where they were playing or had just been playing will be cleaned thoroughly. We gotta clean the field, gotta clean the surroundings so that it can come back within around 2 weeks. That in place of all those people who tested positive, you call up minor leaguers and bench players to start in their place. And this, I think it has it's a pretty good solution, because it keeps baseball going, and to be honest with you, every single team eventually is going to get some COVID-19 cases. Eventually. There's no way with all this air travel between big cities that one person on every team is not gonna get it. They're gonna get it eventually. And the reason this takes that into account and says, okay, it's okay if your players test positive as long as your whole team doesn't test positive. If the majority of your team is negative, then they can still play. Isolate the positive tests and then call up minor leaguers to start in their place. And this can make baseball a bit more interesting, to be honest with you, because it'll kind of even out the big and small market teams. Like if the Bronx Bombers on the Yankees test positive, they have to call up a bunch of minor leaguers, and then they play maybe a shittier team like the White Sox, and the White Sox don't have any coronavirus cases. Well, now they've got to play a depleted Yankees roster, and the White Sox might actually have a chance to win this game, you know? So it's like it'll even the playing field, and it'll also bring up minor leaguers and lesser known players who maybe don't usually get spotlight or the fame that they might deserve, and it's a really good chance for them to get some recognition and hopefully maybe get a contract from a big league team, or at least be maybe not the team they're playing for, but another scouting team might say, oh, look at this guy, he's playing well, let's get him, let's offer him a contract. So, you know, it could work. Baseball will stay playing, minor leaguers get recognition, and the player's health and safety is taken into account. It's like, that works. So I think somebody should write all this down and maybe like send an invoice to the head of the MLB and say, hey, I listened to this ragtag podcast and actually got a brilliant idea. Listen to what I have to say. So, yeah. Alright, so now moving on to our second topic, a little less important, but still kind of important because it kind of relates to the entire NBA as a whole. So, if you didn't know, the Pelicans and the Jazz were the first game last night in the NBA bubble, and it was an interesting game, to say the least. It was good. It was already going to be a close game, but it was really close. Like, Brandon Ingram missed a three-pointer at the end. It rolled around the rim and kind of fluttered out what would have been the game-winning shot. The Pelicans very much could have won this, and it's kind of interesting that the Pelicans didn't win it. It's like, the reason we're all so confused about this is because the Pelicans had Zion, but they only played him for 15 minutes. He only played for 15 minutes. He had 13 points in 15 minutes, and they didn't put him in at the end of the game when the Jazz were coming back and after the Jazz took the lead. It blows my mind that the Pelicans would waste such an opportunity. Do the Pelicans not realize that they have to win these games in order to get into the playoffs? They're not seeded right now. Only the top 8 teams get in. They need to win, and they just took a huge L that they could have won against the 4 seed in the West. Like, if you beat the 4 seed, 1, that's a win, and you get closer to the playoffs, and 2, it sends a statement. It shows a message. It says, hey, we're here to fucking play. Y'all best be prepared for us, you know? It's like, come on, demand some respect. The Pelicans front office looks like a bunch of pushovers. It's like, you had them, and you just let it go. You had the Jazz on the ropes. You could have put Zion in and just had him play some lockdown defense and then get some easy buckets just to run up the score and take the easy dub. But no, they put him on the freaking sidelines and put in a bunch of... I think JJ Redick had more playing time than Zion Williamson. And he's 36 years old. he was playing well, but it's like you're not gonna play the #1 overall pick. You're gonna play a 36-year-old dude who's 3 of 8 from 3. It's like, come on, man. The entire NBA should be frustrated right now because the Pelicans are not using Zion to his full potential. Like, think about the Knicks. They desperately wanted the #1 overall pick because they were gonna use Zion to freaking rebound from their horrible state. But no, they got the 3rd pick, and now all the Knicks fans are probably in a huge uproar because, like, what the fuck, New Orleans? You fucking stole our pick, and now you're not even using it. You have one of the greatest NBA talents in this generation, and you're benching him for JJ Redick? What is going on? What is going on here, man? This, like, I don't know. It's like, are the Pelicans done? They're a lot closer to being done now because they don't know how to use their star player. Like they had the lead in the 4th quarter for the majority of the 4th quarter. But at the end, in the last 5 minutes, the Jazz started coming back. But they kept JJ Redick and Lonzo Ball in, who was like 2 of 10 from the field. It's like, why do they obsess on playing these average players when you got a superstar sitting on the bench? It doesn't make sense. Like, the real question is, should Zion stick with the Pelicans after this season if they don't make the playoffs? Like, if the Pelicans aren't gonna play him, every other organization in the NBA will play him, and they'll play him for 30 minutes. I'm sure they would, just for the media coverage, to be honest, just to see Zion on the floor. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense. Did LeVar Ball pay the Pelicans front office to start to play Lonzo more than Zion? I don't know. That seems pretty realistic right now because there's not many other explanations. It's just, wow, confusing. So, yeah, I'd say the Pelicans are kind of done. They're kind of done. Like, let's see here. I'm not sure, man. The they don't have much going for them. They lost Anthony Davis, and they draft a freaking superstar, and now they're not playing it. I know he was away from camp for 13 days, but he's a freaking beast of an athlete. He's okay. It's okay. He's in such great shape, it doesn't matter if he was away from camp for 13 days. All he's got to do is post up against Rudy Gobert, he'll get it most of the times. All he had to do was let him penetrate a little bit, dribble into the paint, and get an easy hook shot or layup. It doesn't make sense. Like, and now they're gonna play the Clippers tomorrow. They gotta play the Clippers tomorrow. That's a huge jump in difficulty, and they're gonna lose. They're gonna lose. Kawhi and Patrick Beverly and Paul George almost beat the Lakers without Lou Williams, and yeah, it's not looking good. The Pelicans don't have a good an offense as the Lakers. They're gonna lose tomorrow, especially if they play Zion like they did last night. It's not looking good for them. Do the Pelicans even deserve Zion at this point? They seriously don't know how to use his superstardom to help their organization. It's crazy. It's frightening to me, actually. It's frightening that they don't know how to use their superstar player in must-win situations. They're not even, it's not like they're on the cusp of the 8th seed. They've got to beat like 4 teams. They're like they're neck and neck with like 4 teams to get to the 8th seed, and it's not looking good. They need to win. These are must-win scenarios, and they're not using their weapons right. Lonzo Ball is not your best weapon. JJ Redick is not your best weapon. Use Mr. Williamson. Zion needs to play, or else he's gonna move. He's gonna request a trade if they don't play him. So we'll see what happens. I don't know, but I hope the Pelicans can learn to use him, or else he's going somewhere else. And yeah. Alright, so that's been that, guys. Tell me what you guys think of my idea for the MLB in the comments. Like and subscribe. We got a lot more videos coming out now that sports are back. And yeah, thanks, guys. Later.